I'm working on right now. This one definitely seems the strongest. Um, but now you get to see it from game one. So we'll see how it goes. Yes, I would like to mulligan. You really need at least two hands in your opener. This is actually pretty good. I have an Advent of the Worm. I have a Celestial Flare. I have a Rootbound Defense. I think I'm alright. As long as I draw, another two lands in the next couple of turns. I'm going to go ahead and drop a Plains here because I had the Guildgate out first, which means I can still tap for green, but I can also Celestial Flare if I need to. Here I think I'm going to go ahead and just play Temple Garden tapped. He's not really threatening anything. I'm not in any worried about him getting, advantage over me with the Advent of the Worm in hand. Like it's a really hard card for most decks to deal with, and especially a deck like his that's designed for very, very quick, aggressive starts. Um, as much as I want to put the Guildgate in, I think I have to play the Forest just in case he makes that guy huge. Then I can either flare it. If he attacks with both here, I'm gonna go ahead and make a Worm token. Yeah, I'm gonna kill his little Vishino guy and take the two. Once you get to this point, you can pretty much just play defensively, which is really neat about this sort of deck. Uh, because especially if you have like a Rootbound in hand. So even if he kills it, I'm gonna make it indestructible and make another one. And because the way it's worded, uh, it used to work that both creatures were indestructible. I think now only the original is indestructible. I think that was part of the rules changes with M14, um, which is unfortunate. That was really cool, but it does make flavor sense, so I can't, be too upset about it. I'm gonna go ahead and make him sack one of these two here, just to make the his ability to be aggressive diminished a little bit. Um, Again, I'm not too worried because my worm's way bigger, but he can overload me, and I don't want that to happen. And the other thing when you're playing with root-bound defenses is almost never will you use it as a populate card. Like it's almost always going to be used as a hey, I'm going to save my creature and make another one, just as a blowout. Um, Here I'm going to go ahead and Celestia Charm that, because he's able to outrace me at this point, and I don't want to be outraced. And then I can drop an Armada Worm next turn, and that should pretty much seal the deal. That's the thing I like about this deck is that you can play it both offensively and defensively at the same time almost. And I mean, I guess I can just hold back here and see what he's got. Uh, because it's not like he's really threatening to kill me. I'm at 16. I got a 5/5. I can make him answer it and be perfectly comfortable with that. If he makes a blocker, I have Celestial Flare, so I can attack. If he blocks, then I can go ahead and press forward. I'm probably gonna go with the same basic idea. 4 Centaur Healers and a Collective Blessing versus him. The Scion of E2 Ghazi just doesn't really seem to do a whole lot. The Growing Ranks is nice, but I don't think I need the full playset. Celestial Flare again is nice, but I don't think I need the full playset. And the Rootbound Defenses. Um, and what this does is it keeps him off those really hyper aggressive starts, which is really the only thing I'm worried about from his deck. And then adding that that third blessing just gives you a lot of reach late game and takes it out of his hands very, very quickly. This is a pretty good hand. I don't think he has like the dual lands, and I think that's really hurting him. Um, I'm not gonna bluff the Celestial Flare here. I'm gonna go ahead and do the call and start the aggressive movement. Um, that's one of the things that you just really learn about these style of decks is that especially when you have guild gates and dual lands and you don't have the M13 the M10 land cycle, that mana is a lot bigger issue than it used to be. And so one of the things that I've been doing is using the guild gates a lot because they're basically like a second set of shocks that you just can't pay the 2 life for. They're still very functional, even though they're a little bit slower. The mana fixing that they provide, I think, is going to be very, very necessary if you want to play a multicolor deck once Theros arrives, unless Theros has better mana fixing than the Guild Gates. If they don't, I'm probably going to stick to Guild Gates until they rotate out, because I'm a big fan of multicolor. Um, you get a lot more answers. That's the other thing that's nice about this style of deck is you can play, like right now, I have so many different points of attack. I can I can either Deliverance just to make another creature. I can hold back. I can kind of do all these number of different things. Um, but what I'm most fond of doing um, is really waiting to populate unless I need to. Like if he's gonna attack me really huge, I would populate, make a creature, and fog. But I really like to wait as long as possible, so hopefully I can get a worm token going. Because once you get that Armada worm going, it's pretty strong. This is an example of where root-bound defense would be amazing. I don't have that. I do think it's worth go ahead and fog just to keep the just to keep some presence on the board and keep the pressure on. Um, and especially with having the collective blessing in hand, that turns the 3/3 centaur into a 6/6 centaur, which is pretty huge. And even though the Armada Worm's really tempting right here, I think I'm going to go ahead and get the Blessing out. Just because he doesn't have a counterspell, obviously, because he doesn't have blue. Um, and it gives me so much reach against him. Um, it basically turns. I'm not a big trader. I normally keep my cards unless I can get a really good deal. Um, but I mean, looking at the stuff he's playing, I'm probably not going to get anything that I'm going to want, so it's not worth it for me. This is again one of those interesting predicaments. Like, do you hold back? I think it's worth it here just to go ahead and play the worm. Just because it's so much advantage, like it's so much to deal with. So he has to deal with over 20 points of damage right now, and he's at 3 life. It just puts the game really far out of reach, really, really quickly. I'm actually running 4 model worms and 4 Advent of the Worm. And it just really